Recently, FCPS made the news in regard to advances in online learning. For over a decade, Fairfax County Public Schools has offered high school level classes online, and now FCPS is poised to reshape the role of virtual schools. Here to talk more about this is Jay McClain, Director of Cluster 3 and a member of the FCPS Virtual Schooling Task Force. Welcome, Jay.
Thanks for having me.
The Virtual Schooling Task Force. A little bit about that.
Okay. Well, it's a group that was formed a little over a year ago of a variety of people across Fairfax County Public Schools, reaching out also to principals and through them to teachers and even to some students to be able to get some visioning of where we want to go as a district for incorporating virtual learning into what we do.
Now, later in the show, we're going to have Michael Malloy on, and he's going to talk about some state politics and some issues that are bringing this to the fore. What do you know that you might hint towards?
Well, there's lots of things being considered that have been considered, but one of the pieces of legislation that we really need to get ready for is the fact that in the future, students are going to have to take an online course before they graduate. So we want to make sure we prepare students for that starting early on.
So it's a requirement that's coming, and we're already getting ready.
That's
now,
right.
We're not talking about 24/7 learning, things that are already there. We're talking about some different things, such as?
Yeah, well, I think 24/7 is a tool. It's the way that you get to resources as well as ways that teachers can provide some instruction. So we may use 24/7 quite a bit as some of the way to do it, but it's really how you're using it more than just the tool itself.
So that's a get there, but then when you get there, you're going to find different resources online that we're using to teach kids.
Yeah, and really beyond resources, actual instructional strategies.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a certain type of student that's maybe better suited for this than others?
Not really. I mean, I would say that students may use it in different ways. Mm-hmm. So there are some students where online learning may be a way that they reinforce some of what they're learning. The Khan Academy, some of you may have heard of that. So Khan Academy is a piece where you can go out, and if you are trying to learn more about variable equations and you didn't quite get it all the way in class, you've got a resource to go to review that and watch it a few times. So for some students it may be that, and for some others we may do more of a different model, something we call a flipped classroom.
Explain flipped classrooms.
So the flipped classroom, if you think that traditionally what happens in class and what happens for homework, the teacher delivers instruction in class and then at home they go and practice it and extend it. The idea of a flipped classroom is the teacher actually delivers some content online that students view ahead of the lesson. So the teacher is there to help students as they're looking how to apply it, how to understand it, work in small groups, and so it flips around a little bit what happens before and after.
So there's still a teamwork element, which was something that might concern somebody listening and saying, oh, we're going to move everybody online and they're not going to be communicating with one another.
Absolutely. You know, we went to some students, some high school students, and asked them for their views. And as much as you've got high school students these days into all sorts of technologies, one of the things that they consistently said was, we still want the human touch.
You know, we don't want to get ahead of a few things, however. One of them is the digital divide. We don't want to leave some kids out, right? Explain what the digital divide is, first of all,
Sure,
for our audience.
Absolutely. So the digital divide is the idea that students have different resources at home in terms of technology, as well as maybe a know-how with some of that technology because of practice they've had at home. So if we do things that are more technology-oriented and require that to be at home, we could create a greater divide between haves and have-nots with technology, and we do not want to do that. So virtual learning doesn't have to mean that all that virtual learning occurs outside school.
It can still happen in the brick-and-mortar facility.
And if you think of what smartphones do these days, we're not necessarily talking about laptops being necessary for some learning that it happens outside the day. It can happen with technologies getting cheaper by the day.
Well, good. We'll have to check back in and see how things are going.
Great.
Thanks for your time.